There was a smell in the air. Not hers. Different. Cheaper. It reminded me of those party nights in old motels, the kind of scent that sticks to the sheets, to the skin, to your shame. And there was something else. Heavy. Wet. Like sweat or spit. And it was not mine. I took another step. Something fell. Plastic. A bucket. Someone knocked into it. Silence. Frozen. If not for the pounding in my ears, I could have believed I died. Then her voice. A quiet, nervous whisper. Wait, he might have heard. I was not supposed to be home. The printer broke at work. I came back. No one knew. She definitely didn't. I stood on the stairs looking into the dark. Down there, her voice. And someone else's. Familiar. Too familiar. I was not imagining it. I was not breaking down. It was the voice of my best friend. But that was not the worst part. The worst part, she was laughing. I took another step down. Slowly. Quietly. As silent as I could manage. The stair beneath my foot cracked. The sound, sharp. Sudden. The same kind of sound I felt in my chest. They went silent. I froze. Did not breathe. My eyes locked into the dark, like staring over a cliff. There was light down there. Dim, yellow. From that old ceiling lamp I told her not to leave on. She left it on anyway. I heard someone whispering. Fast. The words, blurred. But the tone? Panic. One voice vanished like it swallowed itself. The other, hers, kept going. But not to him anymore. To herself. I remembered what she told me that morning. I'll stay home, clean up a bit, iron your shirts. You have a long day ahead, baby? Baby. When was the last time she called me that? I could not remember. Something started knocking inside my head. Not my heartbeat. Not the pulse. It was the thing she broke. Trust. Belief. Me. Then I heard footsteps. 1, 2. Someone was heading for the stairs. I backed up half a step. Into the shadow. And in the light from that old lamp, I saw it. His shadow. Tall. Broad. He was holding his t-shirt in his hands. And on his neck, still smeared in red, was her lipstick. He did not see me. Just walked past, eyes lowered, holding his shirt like it was some kind of shield. He dressed fast. Slipped out the back door. I knew exactly where he was going, to his car. I knew the license plate. I helped him buy it. I stayed on the stairs. And then she came up, wearing his shirt. Her hair still wet, strands sticking to her forehead like glue. She saw me, froze. But she did not flinch, did not gasp. Just looked tired. Tired of me, maybe. Her eyes. Not panic. Not shame. Just annoyance. Fatigue. And something else. Something that looked a lot like contempt. You're home? Come. Like I was the one interrupting something private. Like I was the guest. Her eyes dropped to what she was holding. My mug. The one I gave her on our first anniversary. Inside, coffee. Black. On the rim, a smudge of red. I said nothing. Just turned and walked into the kitchen. She did not follow. Did not explain. Not a single word behind me. If I had looked back right then, I do not know what I would have done. But I didn't. The kitchen smelled like burnt toast. And that perfume again. Not mine. That sticky one. I sat down. And just sat. For a long time. Then I picked up my phone. Scrolled up through an old chat. With him. His last message read, "Hang in there, brother. Whatever happens, I've got your back." I did not reply to his message. Just stared at the screen. At the date. The time. 2 days ago. He texted me. While I was at work. While he was in my house. With my wife. My throat dried up. I stood. Walked to the bathroom. Looked in the mirror and did not see myself. My eyes. They looked like someone else's. Not water in them. Poison. I turned on the faucet. Cold. Full blast. And I laughed. Loud. Ugly. Too long. Not because it was funny. Because something in me had snapped. She walked into the kitchen. I heard her sip the coffee. Heard her sit. Come. Wordless. Like it was after a shower. After work. Meanwhile I stood there. Wet. Shaking. Looking at myself. And wondering what scared me more. Her. Or me. I walked back. Stood at the edge of the bathroom. Watching her. She was staring at her phone. Typing something. Her thumbs moved across the screen like they knew a body by memory. She did not look up. Or maybe pretended not to. I clenched my fist. For the first time, not to hit. But to hold it all in. Because I did not know what would happen. If I touched her now. But I knew one thing for sure. From this moment on, everything had changed. I sat across from her. Said nothing. Just listened to the sounds. the clicks of her phone, her breathing, the cup rising and falling to her lips. Each time she drank, her lipstick left a little red crescent on the rim. I did not see romance in that. I saw a stain, blood, poison. Finally she looked at me. Something wrong? Her voice, same as always, maybe even sweet. If this was any other day, I might have believed it, might have said, "No, it's fine." "Were you expecting someone today?" I asked. Her brow lifted, not confused, defiant. "What do you mean?" "In the basement." I kept my eyes on hers. She did not flinch. Or maybe she learned to hide it long ago. She stood, placed the mug in the sink. "What are you even talking about?" And then I said his name, slowly, clearly, like a sentence. She froze, her hand hanging over the sink. Her head turned slightly. Her eyes, no surprise, no fear. "You knew," she whispered. "You always knew." I said nothing. There were no words left. Inside, everything had already burned. Only ashes now. And one question. How long? She walked out of the kitchen. Did not say another word. Like it was the end of a small fight. Or the end of an episode. I stayed behind. With her smell. His voice. And a moment I could never rewind. On the table was my old voice recorder. I used to record notes with it. Now I had another idea. The next morning I woke up early. Did not eat. Did not speak. I just walked out. Put the recorder in my coat pocket. That same old recorder, once used for ideas. Now, for the truth. I had no footage. No photos. But I had sound. And sound does not lie. It was the only thing that could tell me what she said when she thought I was not there. And I needed to know. Everything. Even the parts that would burn me. I placed the device behind the books in the living room. That was her spot. She always talked on the phone there. I did not know what I was looking for. Confession? A name? Or maybe I just needed something that whispered, "You are not crazy." At the office I did not work. I just sat. Let things crack inside me. Slow. Quiet. And in my head came a memory. Warm. Faded. Like an old t-shirt that still smelled like friendship. We were in the garage. I had just fought with her. He opened a beer, handed me one. Said, "Women can be stupid, bro. But she's lucky. You're the real deal. Hang in there." I believed him then. I really did. I thought he was my anchor. My brother. Now he left his scent on her neck. I opened my phone. Stared at his profile. His last selfie. That same smile. The one he gave me. When he used to pull me out of shit. And now he dragged me into new shit. Behind my back. Through her. I came home late. On purpose. Waited until she was asleep. Her breathing, slow. Face, calm. Like someone with nothing to hide. Or someone who stopped feeling guilty a long time ago. I took out the recorder. Put on my headphones. Pressed play. At first, silence. Then the sound of a cup placed on the table. Her voice. Soft. Warm. Almost cheerful. But the words. You should have seen his face. So clueless. I thought he suspected something. But nope. He's still all in his head. Pause. Then her laugh. Light. Almost happy. Yeah, I kept it together. Barely. You smelled like my shampoo. And you. I stopped the recording. My heart was pounding. Like a war drum before the execution. I walked to the bedroom. She was still asleep. "Wake up," I said quietly. She did not open her eyes. "Wake the fuck up." She flinched. Looked at me. "What?" "Sure." "Who were you talking to today?" Silence. Then a frown. "A friend." "Why? Is your friend's name Jack?" Her face hardened. "You're listening to my calls now?" "No," I said. "I'm listening to my death." She laughed. "You're paranoid. We're just talking. And even if we weren't, what would you do? Scream into a pillow?" My fist clenched. Something exploded in my head. But I did not hit. I reached into my pocket. Took out my phone. Opened the recording. Hit play. Laid it between us on the bed. She heard her own voice. Her words. And for a split second, her face changed. Not guilty. Not scared. Angry. "You ruined it way before we did," she whispered. And that is when I realized. She chose this. She left the bedroom. Did not slam the door. Did not cry. Just walked out. Like it was a conversation about the weather. I stayed. Sat in the dark. Listening to the blood draining from my head. My jaw clenched. And deep in my gut, something twisted. Like hunger. But not for food. For truth. Or revenge. I did not sleep. Just lay there staring at the ceiling, counting cracks that were not there. At sunrise I got up, before her, for the first time in months. In the bathroom her towel was damp, soft, folded, smelled like someone else's soap. Not the one we used to buy. This one was sharper, masculine, not mine. I checked the laundry basket. Her underwear, freshly washed. But the seam had a red thread in it. Not from her clothes. From his. On the mirror, a soft smudge of lipstick. Someone had kissed the glass. Not her. Not like that. She never kissed her own reflection. I opened her bag. Found an envelope. A hotel receipt. One of those places she always said she hated. 1 room. 2 beds. 1 night. Dated, yesterday. I sat on the edge of the tub. Breathed in. Her scent was still in the air. And someone else's. Sure. Like tobacco. Or a new deodorant. I touched my face. It was wet. But I was not crying. My body just gave out. The envelope had a name on it. Not mine. But I recognized the signature. I was the one who taught him how to write it like that. Back in high school. From that morning on, I became someone else. So did she. But neither of us said a word. During the day we talked about groceries, weather, taxes. At night I listened to recordings and remembered smells. I bought another recorder, hid it in the nightstand, memorized her route to work. Turned out she rarely made it there. She stopped at a cafe, always with someone. I did not ask who. She did not offer. Her smile got wider. She wore more makeup. Some nights she came home glowing, not like someone in love, like someone who won. One evening she brought wine. We drank together. She laughed, talked about our honeymoon. Remember when I dropped my phone in the sea? I smiled, nodded. But in my head, it was not the sea. It was her fingers in someone else's beard. Every night I turned on the recorders, edited the best fragments, labeled them with dates, gave each file a tag. Lie. Suspicion. His voice. I learned to read her eyes. Could tell when she was thinking about him. It was the same look she once gave me. I never yelled, never asked, never touched her, because I knew she was no longer with me. But I needed to know how much of me was still left in her. Fenny. Or maybe I was just waiting for the moment she would finally say, I am not afraid of you anymore. One night I heard her laugh in the shower, loud, for no reason. That laugh was not for me. It was for someone else, someone inside her. And I hated that laugh more than any confession. I went to bed early, closed my eyes, pressed my fist to my chest, listened to her walking through the apartment, the water heater humming, her footsteps on the wooden floor. She no longer walked quietly. She was no longer afraid of me. And that was new. The next day I opened my laptop, sent a message to someone I used to know, a guy who worked security years ago. Can you get a small Wi-Fi camera? His reply came in a minute. What for? I deleted the chat, did not answer, just sat there. Then I opened an old recording, one I had already listened to a dozen times. But this time, I heard something new. Her voice, faint, far away. Maybe we should just tell him. Like, be honest. And then his voice, Jeff, if you tell him, he'll break. He won't survive it. Something twisted in me, not rage, something worse, pity. They saw me as weak, as pathetic, and that was the cruelest betrayal. I walked to the kitchen, opened the old repair box. Inside, a tripod. We used it back in the day filming YouTube stuff. How to make wine from grapes. Good times. I wiped off the dust, slowly, carefully, like I was cleaning a weapon. I stared at it, said out loud, if they want to play cinema, let's film for real. That same day, I found a letter in the mailbox. No name, no return address, just one line. They meet Wednesday, Harbor View Hotel, room 412. I stood outside the hotel for nearly an hour, smoking. I had quit years ago, but something in my hands needed to burn. My palms were sticky, my breath short, sharp. Room 412, 4th floor. The window was lit. I had no plan, no speech, just a scream buried somewhere deep in my bones that wanted out. The lobby smelled like coffee and bleach. The guy at reception didn't ask where I was going. I took the stairs, one step at a time. Each step, like being punched in the ribs. 4th floor. The hallway was quiet. Somewhere a TV buzzed. Voices behind a door. I stopped in front of 412. Listened. At first, nothing. Then, her voice, soft, smiling. I still get nervous before we meet, even now. His voice followed. That just makes it sweeter. Something in me collapsed. Not the heart that had broken long ago. Something human. Something that still wanted to believe. My hand touched the doorknob. I did not open it. I just stood there, listening to them laugh. The same laugh I had heard in the bathroom, on the tape, in my dreams. I stepped back, sat down on the floor, hit the wall with my fist. Once, twice. The sound echoed down the hallway, but inside the room, nothing stopped. I wiped the blood off my knuckles, and for the first time, I said it out loud. I will destroy them, but not like this. Slow. I came back home at 3 in the morning, stood outside the door for a long time, hands still shaking, but not from fear, from focus. Inside, silence, darkness. She was asleep, in my bed, under my blanket, like nothing happened. I did not sleep, just sat in the kitchen, watching pictures in my mind, playing back every word, every image. And then, it all clicked. I opened my laptop, created a new file, named it simply 412, wrote down everything I knew. Dates, names, smells, phrases, times, eye movements. For the first time, I was not emotional. I was a surgeon, dissecting my own story. I remembered how she once asked me, "Why do you remember everything? Even the little stuff?" And now, that was why. Memory had become my weapon. The next morning, I started photographing her. Quietly. On my phone. In the morning when she left. At night, when she returned. At the store choosing wine. The same one they drank at the hotel. I created a second folder. Images, videos, audio. Not for court. For judgment. At the same time, I wrote a letter. Short. Precise. No names. Just facts. Facts only someone from inside could know. And I knew exactly who I would send it to. Her mother. 3 days passed. She became quiet. Not the usual kind. Not peace, alertness. Like a cat sensing a predator. But unsure which way it is coming from. I asked nothing. Acted normal. Made coffee. Folded laundry. But every move I made was calculated. Measured. Deliberate. She started checking the mirror more often. Double-checking her phone. Typing, deleting. I noticed. I counted her steps. Measured her silences. The letter I wrote, I left and signed. Just dropped it in the mail. I wrote it slow, carefully. Your daughter is not who you think she is. I have been collecting evidence. If you want to know what she does on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m., it's your decision whether to read on. Attached 3 photos. The hotel. Her. And him. Together. From the side. No words. But each photo, a sentence. After that, I started getting strange calls. Unknown numbers. No voice. I did not speak. I just listened to the silence. And I knew. They know I know. One evening, she sat across from me. Looked at me for a long time. Then finally asked, "Do you want to tell me something?" I sipped my coffee. Looked at her. Smiled. "Did you lose your phone again?" Her face twitched. Not with anger. With fracture. For the first time, she was not confident. And most importantly, for the first time, she had no idea what I was going to do next. I created a new profile. A man. A little younger than me. No photo. No history. Just the right words. I messaged her anonymously. Your husband knows everything. But this is not the end. 412. That is where it started. But not where it ends. She read it 5 minutes later. Then walked out of the room. Stood by the window. For a long time. Did not smoke. Did not talk. Just stared. I could see it in her posture. She was afraid. Later she started cleaning. Quietly. Like she was distracting herself. Every now and then, she would stop. Listen. Sometimes she glanced at me. When she thought I was not looking. That night I installed the camera in the hallway. The one I got from the guy I messaged. Small. Like a button. But it saw everything. The next morning, I connected it to my phone. Live stream. Then I opened my chat app. Searched his name. Jet. For the first time, I messaged him directly. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. I'll be at the place where you were last time. If you want, come. Silence. No, bro. No, it's not what it looks like. No emoji. And that said more than any excuse ever could. I took a day off work. First one in 6 months. Not to rest. To finish. Most importantly, I was no longer afraid, which meant, now they were. The next day, she acted good, made breakfast, played music, touched me lightly as she passed by, like a wife, or someone pretending to be one. But her eyes, they were different, nervous, searching. She was no longer confident. In her silence, because now, I was silent too. I sat on the couch, looked through old photos, not of them, of us, before. Her smile back then, it was warmer, or maybe I just believed in it more. In the evening she got ready to leave. A friend needs help moving some stuff, she said. I nodded, did not ask which friend, did not offer to come. As the door closed behind her, I opened the camera feed. She got into a car, not alone, behind the wheel. They drove off, and I followed. From a distance. No music, no shaking hands, just focus. I already knew the route, every turn, every light. They parked by the same hotel, Harbor View, same game, same room. Only this time, there was one more player. I waited, watched them go inside. Then I moved, walked slowly, one floor at a time, until I stood again, in front of room 412. In one hand, my phone. In the other, a power bank. The hallway camera was already streaming. I hit record. And then I heard a sound. Footsteps. From inside. Toward the door. The door opened slowly. First a few inches. Then wider. And in the frame, her face. No makeup. No smile. No storyline. She was not expecting me. Not here. Not now. Her eyes widened. Not in fear. In confusion. Like someone who forgot her lines. Hi, I said. Soft. Almost kind. She did not answer. Just stepped back. I walked in. They were not naked. He was standing by the window, wearing a t-shirt. My t-shirt. I recognized it. I once left it at his place during a fishing trip. Jack turned pale. His fists clenched, then loosened. He looked at me like I was a threat. I looked at him like he was nothing. Film, I said, and raised the phone. The camera was already rolling. I moved the lens. Her face. His face. The hotel. Room 412. Every detail. They stayed silent. And that was louder than anything they could say. I did not come here to scream. I did not come for explanations. I just want you both to see yourselves as you are. She stepped forward, reached out her hand. Please? I stepped back, not from fear, from disgust. Do not touch me. You have your hands. They are not mine anymore. Jack finally spoke. Listen, man. This was not supposed to happen. We. I cut him off. We was me and you. When you stood next to me at my wedding. We was when I trusted you. More than I trusted myself. I turned to her. And you? You knew he was the only piece of me that was still real. And you chose him. Her eyes flared. Not with guilt. With rage. You disappeared long before this, she snapped. I smiled. Maybe. But not long enough to miss the moment when the two people I loved the most decided to break me and then check if it looked beautiful on camera. I placed the phone on the table. Screen up. Camera still rolling. She moved toward it. Wanted to grab it. I looked up. One touch, and this video goes to your family chat. They love you so much. Especially your mom. Want her to see how you called me a loser. After every date with him? She sat down, slowly, like someone who just realized she ran the wrong direction. Jack stood, stiff, tense. What? You want to ruin everything? I laughed. Quiet. Dry. Me? You already did that. I am just adjusting the focus, so the damage looks sharp. I reached into my jacket, pulled out another phone, the work one. I played a recording. Her voice, his voice, the bed, the laughter, the kind of lines that burn deeper than gasoline. She stood up. You're insane. You're sick. Recording, watching, editing. That's not revenge, that's disease. And cheating? I asked. Is that love? She went silent. Jack stepped back, rubbed his face. You both thought I would disappear, that I would crumble. But I stayed. I stayed to look you in the eye and give you a choice. I pulled out an envelope, laid it on the table. Her name was written on it. Inside, one sheet, one line. You disappear from my life forever, or I send this to every place that still believes in you. She looked at Jack. He looked down. And I knew he would not save her, just like she would not save him. Now they were finally a match. No masks, no secrets. They stayed silent, both of them, like kids caught not just lying, but stealing. But the worst part was not that I knew everything. The worst part was that they had nothing to say. To make it less ugly, Jack sat down first, his back curved, shoulders dropped. I did not mean for this to happen. It just did. His voice hollow, like someone who lost a job. Not love, not himself, just comfort. I stared at him, thought about how we used to fight older boys on the street. He used to cover my back. Now he stabbed it, and still asked why I was bleeding. She stood, arms crossed, eyes burning, but not at herself, at me. You planned this, she hissed. You trapped us. No, I said. Come, Cole. You trapped yourselves. I just hit record. She stepped closer, looked straight at me. You think after this you win? I already won, I said. Because now, I will never doubt again who you really are. Her eyes shook, not from anger, from loss. She realized there was nowhere left to run, and nothing left to explain. I picked up my bag, my phone, my silence. Now you're finally equal, I said. The two of you. No lies, no illusions. You deserve each other now. I turned to the door. They did not stop me, did not speak, did not scream. And just as I stepped into the hallway, I heard something crash against the wall. Maybe a mirror, or maybe their illusions. I walked out of the hotel, did not look back. The air was thick, wet, like just before a storm. My chest was not light. It was empty. The city buzzed. Cars, sirens, voices. But all of it sounded underwater, muted, far away, like the world was moving forward. Without me. I sat on a bench outside, looked at my hands. My fingers were still trembling, though I had nothing left to hold. A couple walked past, young, laughing, touched noses. I turned away, not out of jealousy, but because we used to do that too. What? My phone buzzed beside me. The camera was still running. I hit stop. Video saved. 28 minutes, 46 seconds. I did not want to watch it, but I saved it. Not as a trophy, as a reminder. In my ears, the rush of blood. In my chest, a scream pressed into a cube. I leaned forward, pressed my hands against my head, and realized something. I was not crying. I did not even want to. I just wanted silence, and it never came. I came home near midnight. The apartment, dark, empty. On the table, a note. I'll move out tomorrow. Don't look for me. I did not look. I walked to the bathroom, turned on the water, washed my hands. For a long time. But the dirt stayed. Not on the skin. Inside. In the closet. Some of her things still hung. I took them down, folded them into a black trash bag, neatly. At the bottom, I placed a photo. The three of us. She was in the middle, smiling. And I was real. Back then. I went outside. The wind was sharp, cold on my cheeks. I walked a block, then another, and another. Stopped near a row of dumpsters. I did not throw the bag. I placed it down, gently, like a body I did not want to wake. I looked up. The sky had no stars, no moon, just a gray dome, over a city that no longer held anything of mine. I walked back, slowly. People passed me. No one looked. I did not look at them either. Back home, I sat on the bed, turned on the light. Nothing happened. No new chapter, no cleansing. She became a ghost, and I was left with her bones. I woke up to the sound of a car outside, not from sleep, from inertia. Looked up at the wall. Gray. No stains, but it felt like it cracked. Or maybe I did. I got up, turned off the alarm though it never rang, went to the kitchen, boiled water, picked a mug. It was hers, one she used to love, handle chipped. I did not throw it away. I just drank from it, not out of memory, out of indifference. My eyes fell on a photo on the fridge. Our wedding. I touched her face with a finger, traced the cheek, felt nothing, not even anger. I went outside, just to walk. Kids were playing ball. One shouted, "Watch what I can do." I did not watch, just walked past. A couple sat on a bench. She laughed, hugged his neck. They were young, alive. I felt cold, not from the wind, from the understanding. I no longer knew how to do that. I came back home, closed the door, locked it, twice. Not because someone might come in, but so no one could enter. What was left inside me? I sat, stared at the wall, and finally understood why they never told me the truth. Because they knew I would not break, I would survive, and that is more terrifying than any scream. I cleaned the floor, wiped the dust, changed the sheets, first time in a week, not because it was dirty, but because that is what normal people do. Everything was neat, corner to corner, perfect folds. I looked at the room and thought, like no one ever loved here, like no one ever betrayed anyone here. I turned on music, the same playlist we used to listen to, on the way to the lake. 30 seconds in, I turned it off. Even nostalgia felt fake now. I opened my laptop, wrote an email to myself. I am still here. Not sure why, but I am. Hit send. Deleted it right after. Did not read it. Went to the bathroom. Started shaving. The blade slipped. Cut my neck a little. One drop of blood. Warm. Alive. The only thing that reminded me, I was still flesh, not ash. Her towel was still there. I used it to wipe the blood. Not carefully. Just indifferently. I stepped out onto the balcony. Looked down. People were walking, carrying bags, laughing. I had nothing in my hands. Just pockets. I used to walk like that too, not knowing I was carrying the corpse of love inside me. I do not search anymore. Not for her profile. Not for his name. Not for the recording. Not for the smell. Not even for the moment where it all broke. But this is not healing. It is not peace. It is just the habit of absence. I go to work, sit in the same spots on the metro, drink the same coffee, with the same bitter aftertaste. People talk. People laugh. I stay quiet, because inside me, there are no words left worth speaking. In the park near the office, there is a tree. She used to take a picture of it every spring. Now I pass it every day. I do not look. Let it bloom. Let it grow. Let it be. I do not. At night, I leave the hallway light on, not because I am scared, but so I remember I am alone. Sometimes I catch myself waiting, not for a call, not for an apology, just for the final collapse of me inside me. I do not live. I just walk through places where people still remember who I used to be when I was alive. I no longer look for love. I just check if the doors are locked. I walked past the mirror, did not look. What for? I already knew. Nothing stares back anymore. Just a man who did not fall apart. Just a man who remembered everything and lived with all of it. Some people drown in betrayal. I learned to breathe in it,